Can I interest you in another dog? The Seattle Kraken at plus 180 tonight. They did win outright in game 1. Can they do it again, PJ?
They could. They could. Guys, do you know the Kraken were at 50-1 to win the Stanley Cup before the Bruins lost to the Panthers and before they played the Avs? And now their odds are crashing down.
13.
This team, though,
they were 20-1 like last week. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane. It's insane. And, obviously they're an expansion team, and they have like 5 or 6 players on their team that have won a cup before. So they have plenty of experience. I don't think they would be my underdog pick tonight. I think it would be more so Florida would probably. I do like Dallas to bounce back at home. The Kraken they scored 3 goals in a minute span in that first period, and that was really what kind of won them the game. But Dallas, I expect them to bounce back at home tonight. I do think they're the better team. I think they'll win the series, and I would expect them to win. So I would probably stay off the Kraken and lean more so towards the Panthers as my dog.
Stay off the Kraken.
Stay off the Kraken.
Is that one of your things?
That's the tagline. Yes, stay off the Kraken.
I love
These are some of the great phrases you'll get on Send It In, the midday show on the BetQL network. PJ Glasser hosts it, and here he is on BetQL Daily. How's that for a transition?
The games end at like 9 for you. You got the whole night ahead of you.
He's up.
Well, but this show starts at 6 o'clock for me, so I have to go to sleep earlier. It's not like we have different sleep schedules. Like we all have to go to sleep around the same time so we get our necessary 4 hours or whatever we're getting. Like,
you're on that Joe Gilliam schedule. That's on the Joe G schedule.
I'm not living that life anymore. I'm long past that. I don't need to know that bad. I will find out in the morning. I can go to bed. I'm fine. Guess what? If I lose the bet, we're not losing the house. It's okay.
You don't bet like I do.
I'm fine.
You're not a real bettor, man. You stay up late. That's what we do.
No.
That's what the purists do.
The pros tell me that they don't even watch the games.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I mean, there are many times.
There are times I do go to bed and I just check the ESPN app box score, like, just to see if I won or lost at like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I do the same thing. Yeah. Well, I do the same thing. I just wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, all right, let me check my bets.
It's blurry. Did I win? I can't tell.
I actually did have that moment yesterday with Ohtani's strikeouts. I'm texting Jake. I'm like, the dude had 13? Like, I was like, I know I didn't eat a gummy. Am I seeing this right?
Wait. It says he pitched 5 innings and he had 13 strikeouts. Something's off there. And there won't be a big free throw advantage for the Lakers. But I do wonder, look, what this series comes down to for me, we know the Warriors are going to make their threes. And we know LeBron's going to show up. But what I don't know about is if you get, and it doesn't have to be to that level that we saw in game 1, but are we going to get a dominant Anthony Davis night after night? Because that's been the knock on him. When he shows up, that team is winning because he can just take it over. There are people saying, he's top 5 when he's on. And I can't really argue that when he's on. But is he going to be on for an entire series? That's always been the question with him. It's been on, off, some of it injury-related. So he was on in game 1. Man, if they can just steal this one, and I know history tells us over the last few years, when the home team loses game 1, what occurs in game 2, we can go over that. But if AD is right again, the Lakers might be up 2-0 going home.
Here's the thing, though, about the Mets. The rest of the starting rotation is in a really tricky spot here. So Kodai Senga, he only pitches once a week, never on regular rest. And by the way, a great Mets newsletter kind of outlines these concerns for the rest of the starting rotation. Carlos Carrasco, Jose Quintana, they have some injuries that they're dealing with. And so even if you think that Scherzer and Verlander are going to be dominant for the rest of the season, Everyone else, either you're not going to see Singa, as often as you would like. There may be some, growing pains as far as getting him into a usual MLB rhythm. And then you've got some injuries to the rest of the starting rotation. The Mets are plus 300 right now to win the division. But I wonder if even making the playoffs is a certainty as far as the Mets are concerned.
God, they suck.
But they've done so many things already. Yeah.
No, go ahead. I have not. I think they're a fade, and it's a challenging division. We talked about where the Phillies are going to stack up. We think the Marlins are going to drop back, and the Nationals may have. I don't know. They're going to be worse than 400. They're not going to play 400 ball this year. I mean, with the talent on that roster, so a number of these teams are going to slide back. So it's too small of a sample size. But if we're going to stack things up, for them to miss the playoffs, I don't mind that at all.
I'm a big speed figures guy. None of them really have standout figures compared to what we've seen in the past. Typically, we see multiple horses coming into this race with speed figures 105, 106, in the low 100s. There's only a couple here that have even hit 100 at this point in their careers. So it is a slower field relative to previous years. We can say that pretty confidently. And then also just in terms of the way the international horse race stage is shaping in the past couple of years, Japan is becoming a much more dominant force, if not the domineering force in horse racing. So I do think eventually this streak of 18 straight runners who have come over from Dubai and failed to hit the board in Kentucky, I think that's going to come to an end very soon. And I think it could end this year with the number 17 Derma Sitagaki. He is one of my favorite win contenders in this race. He should have the easy distance to get the full mile and a quarter of Churchill down. And I also love this prep in UAE because it was the fastest UAE Derby I think that we've seen from one of these runners that has come over. I bet Mendelssohn, when he came over from UAE a couple of years ago, he didn't fire at all in the Kentucky Derby. It looked like a terrible bet, but truly he just didn't break out of the gate. And I believe he was injured. And ultimately, it just extended the reasons why people will not bet on these Japanese horses until they win one. But I think that is the wrong approach. I think it's actually going to happen sooner rather than later. So if you continue to bet the Japanese horses in the next few years, I think you're actually more likely to hit it than just taking the opposite approach and saying none of them have done it yet. It's not going to happen. So Derma Sitagaki, a top win contender for me, the Japanese horse. I would probably throw out the other Japanese horse, Continue Arm. But then my other favorite top win contender of the American horse is the number 14 Angel of Empire. I do think we're going to get a pretty honest pace in this race, and the two closers that I like the most, Angel of Empire and then also the number 9 Skinner, I would probably put them together on a lot of my tickets because if I think there's a complete pace meltdown, it's very likely those two come running late and hit the board.